As Australians, and as a matter of fact, as a nation, we should be angry. Angry because for 2 years, many Australians and Victorians have allowed themselves to be lied to be conned, and to be treated as fools, manipulated into believing that highly paid medical bureaucrats and scientists who were masquerading as experts actually understood the remit of health and managing disease and pandemics, when they didn't. When the area of their expertise should have been to facilitate the best medical advice in keeping with the respected science, not concocted nonsense formulated to drive fear and line pockets. Instead, Australians have been fed lie upon lie to bolster a narrative in keeping with control and power, not health, facilitated by money and the desire of advancement and self-interest. It was advice and direction intentionally augmented with agenda and financial reward. Australians were given a vaccine sales pitch by vaccine salesmen and women, and they destroyed lives and economies to do so. Experts with opposing views were silenced, and those who were informed surrendered ethics and morality to the government's agenda. Simply, governments were responsible in eliminating human rights in doing so. People were cancelled for challenging what was, to many, an obviously flawed, false, and destructive narrative, with consequences we are dealing with today as a direct result. And those who didn't acquiesce were ostracised and condemned for possessing opinion and independent thought. So just last week, Victoria's Chief Medical Officer gave every Victorian and Australian insight into the fuckery and fraudulency of government and officialdom, posing as well-intentioned experts of knowledge who were meant to have our welfare and safety in mind. Well, based on what Brett Sutton revealed, clearly they didn't. Because for more than 2.5 years, and to some degree now, Australians were held hostage by the connivance of duplicity, and still, many remain captive mentally through fear and brainwashing. Just this week, Sutton suddenly discovered the therapeutic benefits and advantages of fresh air, and how fresh air as a therapeutic remedy carried with it healing powers that have only just been discovered, or at least just been discovered by the medical and scientific genius of Brett Sutton and his flunkies within the Victorian Government Department of Health, and some of those so-called leading medical experts he surrounds himself with. Based on this extraordinary discovery by Sutton, but not so extraordinary for Florence Nightingale, it seems Sutton is about 200 years behind the times. And to that logic, fresh air means consuming fresh air, not conning people into wearing masks. What did Victoria's esteemed Chief Health Officer learn at medical school? Possibly not much, it seems. Or has Sutton had a change of heart and finally thought it's time to come clean about the lies, misinformation and rubbish Australians and Victorians have been fed by our government? Sutton's clearly no fool. He's a career bureaucrat. So why would he bite the hand that feeds him and kill the golden goose that affords him a life of benefit and opportunity? And why, after 2 years, is Sutton telling everyone about the benefits of fresh air when the narrative was vastly different in 2020 and 2021? Benefits that a thinking public knew. Only Brett Sutton knows, and people can only speculate, because Sutton has highlighted the duplicity of officialdom and the bureaucracy. What we can say with certainty is Victorians and Australians have been played as fools, and they have allowed themselves to do so. Now, people can't be blamed for believing their governments only have their best interests in heart. But then again, it's naive to think governments are always working for your best interests, because these are now interesting and changing times that we live in. They have shown that they don't. And since COVID and the lies fabricated that were all designed to dupe people, and they did, Victorians and Australians allowed themselves to be played as suckers. And although some remain convinced of the need to mask up, The majority of Australians now refuse to even listen, let alone heed, the government's advice or recommendations after being left feeling as though they've been played for suckers. And this is because of the government's failings, not the public's.